Oh, look at you.
Look at the merch, baby. Look at that.
That's awesome. How are you today?
I'm good. How are you today?
I'm great. I'm great. Doing
Welcome
well.
back to another fun, exciting episode of the Penalty Box Live. Our guest today is J.W. Kraft, owner of FC Tulsa, the Tulsa professional soccer team. So we're going to talk to him a little bit. Excited about that. And as always, I'm joined by the lovely Timothy Vivian Lord. Tim, how are you today?
You know, Eric, I am doing well. It's been a great week so far. Just busy, which is good.
Yeah, I got the same thing going on. It's I know we talk a lot. You and I talk a lot anyway, but I think as things are opening back up, people are out. I think we've talked more than I thought people were going to get out quickly. I think the economy is going to come back fast and real quick. So, but anyway, let's kick this off with some shots on goal. I'll let you go first, sir.
Well, I've got three, and two of them are really quick. One, last week on our NFL show, I predicted, based on what I've been hearing in Massachusetts, that on the sports radio, that the Patriots were not going to take Matt Jones, even if he was there. Now, I will say this. I was out with the boys watching the draft at a local pub, and I was rooting for them to take him because, everything had gone, and I was thinking, just to have a slim chance that Cam will not be our quarterback is all worth it to me.
Ironically, the number one thing I had written on my shot on goal today was to rib you about Mac Jones will not be picked. Boston media said Mac Jones, and you got to eat a little crow on that because.
I will. All right, so that was my first one, and I knew you were going to do that. That's why I took the shot. I took the shot on
myself. Fell on the sword, right?
Right. Yeah. The second one I have is Trevor Lawrence got picked first. And did you hear that he took $24 million and dumped it, his signing bonus, dumped it into cryptocurrency?
No way, really?
Yep. And he signed some kind of endorsement a deal with a crypto company that is like Coinbase or something like that. I can't remember the name of it. It wasn't Coinbase, but and apparently it's already making money for him. So that's
his whole signing bonus he's putting.
That's what they reported, $24 million. He's going to get another 39, during the season. So not this season, but 39 over the next 3 years.
Right, over the life of his rookie contract.
Right. So that's what they reported. And my last one is
interesting.
Here in Boston sports media in the morning, they have a show. And on the show that I listen to, they have this thing called Dumbest of the Day. And have you heard of this thing called High? You're in the food service industry, called High Meat. Have you heard about this?
What is it?
High Meat, HIGH. Meat,
no, right? Do tell. This sound like.
Well, it goes with those other food trends like fried, deep fried water, pork flavored ice cream. These people are called high meat. They're leaving meat out for an extended period of time, and then they're eating it because they're saying that they're getting a high off of it, And as I've done the research, all the pundits that know what they're doing say that's just dangerous, E. coli, salmonella. But nothing says high like food poisoning. So
I thought you were going to go with like some CBD infused hamburgers or something.
No, people are leaving like raw meat out for months and then eating it. Check it out online. It's
well, I do love a good aged steak, but that just sounds a little ridiculous. All right, my number one. I was going to rib you about Mac Jones because you were incredibly wrong on that last week, and I'm glad they got Mac Jones. The guy's a winner. And, I think I told you I posted something about it on Facebook the other day about drafting Mac Jones, and some friends of mine said, well, he's just surrounded by all these great athletes. Well, he's a great athlete. He wouldn't have ended up at Alabama if he wasn't a great quarterback. So I don't buy into that. Have you seen Will Smith and his Instagram over the last couple of days?
No.
Okay. He posted a picture on Instagram of him in some boxer briefs, and he's got dad bod going on, right? And this is the guy that was Muhammad Ali and all this stuff. And he said this is the worst his body's been in his entire life. And I'm 51. I think he's about my age, I think. Alexa, How old is Will Smith? We're going to find out.
Will Smith is 52 years old.
52 years old. So we're roughly the same age. I'm rocking the same dad bod as Will Smith. I'm good with that. He's probably going to get in shape, and I'm just going to keep doing what I'm doing. So that's
right.
I would tell everybody to check it out, because you look at a star like that, and a movie star like that, and you're going to be like, whoa. My last shot on goal is, guys, if you're watching this, Sunday is Mother's Day. Love your mom up, love your wives up, and your kids, and like, I've got 2 little girls, and I'm gonna take them to get them a card to give to mama. And you guys, make a mental note, take care of that stuff.
Absolutely.
Don't be in the doghouse. It's Mother's Day.
Absolutely.
It's Mother's Day. So without further ado, I say let's bring on JW Kraft, our guest today.
Hello.
There he is. How are you, sir?
Doing? Thanks for having me on.
Well, we're excited to have you on. So JW owns, him and his 3 brothers own FC Tulsa, which is the USL franchise here in Tulsa. And I wanted to ask you, my first question, as I started really digging into it, and I'll be very transparent. I've never been to a soccer match in my life. So you're going to have to hook me up, and we're going to have to make something happen, because I got to go. But what are the plans long term? You're not going to play at a baseball stadium long term, are you?
And I think we've got a lot of flexibility, but ultimately I think the fans would love to see a soccer specific stadium, and it's a bit of a turnaround story. So we bought it, and really are trying to grow the fan base from the ground up. Obviously, buying a sports team and operating your first year in the COVID environment,
right.
So, but I think we had our opening night last night. The crowd was amazing, and I think if we keep building upon that momentum, then I think it's going to be an easy thing for things to do. I will say, we made a ton of investment in the game day experience. So the venue we play in is a relatively new venue. That is
right.
a baseball field. We convert it, but we've done things like we've changed the entire orientation of the pitch. So rather than playing kind of east-west, we play north-south, and it really has dramatically changed the sight lines, viewpoints, and the feedback that we're getting is it's just incredibly. People can't believe it. So between that and the pyro and cryo, just kind of special effects, and it's a terrific experience, kind of regardless of what we're playing.
Normally when Tim comes on, he wants pyrotechnics and stuff, but we had to get rid of that. It costs too much money.
It's not true.
So I live here. I'm in Tulsa. You're in Tulsa. Louisville FC just built their stadium. It's gorgeous. All right, great. Thanks, Sean. We're working on that. JW's working on that.
We get to play. We can play in Louisville twice this year. So
there you go. Well, we'll have to hook you up with Sean Litbach. He's a good guy. So the Tulsa Roughnecks, historically, everybody knew that name around here, and you buy the franchise, and then last December you change it to FC Tulsa. I'm sure there was a lot of kickback from the people that remembered, the Roughnecks forever. I wonder, did the fan base scream that much, number one? And then number two, every time I hear stuff like that, Tim doesn't know what I'm talking about, but you think about Bell's Amusement Park.
Right.
When they're going to close Bell's down, people lose their mind. But then when you say, well, when was the last time you went to Bell's Amusement Park? 20 years ago. Well, then shut up. People want to have an opinion because it's nostalgic, but they don't attend. Did you see some of that in the research you guys did?
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, we definitely, kind of went on a big kind of listening road tour before we really made any changes. So we were running a lot of things in parallel. So even before we bought the team, we were running kind of focus groups and talking with supporters and customers. And when, the initial reaction was, oh, don't change the name.
Right.
But when you go through the whole rationale, why we're doing it, how we're positioning it, and really, I think, if you look at all of the investment that's happening in Tulsa, the Tulsa from 2020 forward for the next decade is dramatically different than the Tulsa of 1980.
Yeah.
And so that was kind of one thing. I think number two, they're the size of market that we are. I mean, we just passed 1 million people in population. A little over 500,000 households. So when you look at sports properties, major pro sports properties, they're generally in kind of cities that are 750 households and up, right? Or 1.5 million people and more. So we're definitely on the smaller end. Only Buffalo and Green Bay, which are kind of anomalies in that world, are around the same size. Buffalo is about 100,000 more households, and Green Bay is 100,000 fewer households. But this is really our opportunity to have Tulsa at the center. So when we were on all the games are on ESPN Plus, we're playing all these major cities, and to have a property or an asset for the city that's going all over and kind of showcasing our city. We thought that putting the city at the center of the club made a lot of sense. And, so when you kind of explain to people, they're like, okay, I get it. Yeah. The cool thing about soccer, it gets back to the mascot. I mean, a lot of the fandom was really crowd led, right? And so locally, I mean, there's still a lot of people that refer to us as the Roughnecks, and there's no problem. We will always be, some portion, and that's in our DNA, and that's great. And so if the supporters clubs and kind of from a Tulsa perspective, want to continue to refer to us as Roughnecks, there's no problem with that. But I think when you look outside, when we're playing the Louisvilles and Portland's and Indianapolis and Atlanta's and all of those other major cities, I think it was important for us that it was really Tulsa, rather than just being the Roughnecks and where's that team from? Hey, it's Tulsa.
Right. That's cool.
So JW, to educate us a little bit, up here in New England we have the Revolution. So how does the USL and the USLC is that a feeder league to like the Revs and those kind of that kind of league?
No, they're independent. Currently independent, right? So if you look at kind of most international leagues, right? There's multiple divisions, right? And you see into like Premier League and then the Champions League and then League One, League Two in the UK, or even Bundesliga, Serie A. All of those teams internationally will have a multitude of different levels within pro sports. In the US, MLS kind of follows the kind of NBA, NFL, where it's kind of a closed loop system, right? So that entity, you kind of buy in and you're in that closed loop, which is really not how the international landscape works. So USL is this, so our league is the second division. So you have MLS is FIFA sanctioned and US Soccer sanctioned first division. And then you have USL Championship, which is the second division, and then USL League One, which is kind of a third division, and so on and so forth. And so what they call it is the soccer pyramid. And so from all the way from amateurs all the way up to professional, there's a series of different leagues operating at different levels. And a lot of it is really major difference is that each club covers their own payroll. And so it's not like from a from a baseball standpoint where the pro club is covering the payroll for all of the teams and on down, each club's building its own. And so you get back into a club, we were talking in a small town of Ohio could still have a club, but it's not going to be able to afford the salaries that a New York City could, or a Chicago or Atlanta or a Tulsa or Houston. And so that really drives a lot of the economics of kind of at what level you can play. Internationally, you've got kind of promotion relegation, which it's kind of like the Hoosier story, right? The small guy can ultimately win. And in the U.S., the way that we compete is through a tournament called the U.S. Open Cup. So unfortunately, due to COVID, it's been canceled the last 2 years. But in the FIFA kind of North American Cup, which encompasses Caribbean and Latin America, Canada, Mexico, U.S. There's 4 American teams that qualify for that tournament. So one, it's the MLS winner, kind of championship winner. 2, it's the MLS regular season winner from each division, so the Eastern and Western Conference, and then 3, it's the winner of the U.S. Open Cup. So Tulsa could compete against, we could find ourselves playing against New England Revolution in the U.S. Open Cup finals, for instance, or quarters or semis or wherever. So it just really gets back into it's a tournament. It's a tournament open to all levels of pro soccer within the U.S. and underdogs are definitely the lower leagues, the MLS and the Titans. But a couple of years ago in the quarters, we had 6 MLS teams and 2 USL Championship teams.
That's crazy. That's crazy. Now I noticed that you had a lot of players, international players. How did COVID impact them even being able to go home?
Limited travel significantly. I think most of our international players really don't. I think at the end of the season, I mean, they really don't go back and forth throughout the season. A couple of our guys that are domestic that have family, say in Florida, or in a typical season, if they have a break, they might go see the family, which didn't happen last year because of player bubbles and a number of other things. And we had so the first time that a lot of these people were going back was really at the end of the season. So typically it's about a 2-month break. This year we had a little longer of a break, and due to certain COVID issues in certain countries, we had some visa and embassy issues trying to get people guys back, which definitely delayed. Luckily one of our kind of guys that's been with us from 2019, 2020. From Brazil, had a pretty hard time getting back, but he's back in and played the other night, so it's good to have him back.
Good for you.
What about attendance? As far as I know, where you're playing, like I've been to games this year where the BOK Center was really closed down as far as how much they could have. Are you back 100%, or what does that look like for you guys right now?
It's a little. I mean, there's kind of so. In Tulsa, right? We just ended our mask mandate. April. Vaccines have been out for everyone 16 and over for at least the last month. And so I think with that availability, it really is a case by case, plan by plan with the Tulsa Health Department. So
Gotcha.
We're around, kind of today, around a 5,000 limit. In a stadium that can hold, around 8,000. You could probably, with standing room only, push it to maybe 9.5.
Yeah.
We had 4,200 in kind of our opening night, the end of the night. So it's distance. We close off sections and really try and not overcrowding different sections and really get everyone kind of spread out, which is also helpful. And it gives you the sense that it's definitely more full because everywhere you look there are people.
Right.
So it's a pretty neat deal. Even last year when we were at a third of capacity, you had a similar deal where in a typical everyone's squished into the premium seats and that. So it definitely it's a I don't want to say it's a benefit, but it definitely plays into the kind of experience.
Interesting question. Your brother Ryan and your brother Kyle, are you the oldest?
I am.
Okay, so here's my question: steel cage match, the three of you, who you got?
What's that? I'd take myself.
Oh, okay. All right, just making sure. I figured you'd say you'd pummel, but I would just I don't know.
I don't know. We're all pretty scrappy, so
all right.
I don't know. We probably would just all kind of stare at each other and.
Well, I don't know if any of them would come off the top or anything like that, and chair or anything crazy, fight dirty. It's all fair.
I mean, it's been a fun experience. This is the first time we've really worked together, and I think the cool thing is we're all alike enough that we pretty much kind of understand where everyone's coming from, but we're also different enough in what we really like to do that we kind of have a little bit of overlap, but we kind of all focus on different areas of the business. So,
right. Well, that was going to lead into one of the questions I had, which is what I know you have a general manager, but are all three of you guys hands on as far as being involved? What does that look like?
It's in the day-to-day operations, really not too involved. I think whether it's long-term financial planning, kind of stadium negotiating, all that kind of stuff, setting budgets, spending allocations is kind of where I spend a decent amount of my time. And then Ryan's does a lot with the league themselves. On the executive committee with the league this year, and kind of player recruitment, player development. We're working on kind of the Moneyball data analytics side of that, and looking at kind of game models and really pushing the technical side. And then Kyle does a ton of work on our back-end data CRM. So really understanding the customer. If anyone's back to first-party data and the changing landscape of who the sports fan is. Millennials and younger people are behaving much differently than baby boomers and even Gen X. So really being able to understand a lot of that and provide a lot of insights. So we're kind of like a mini consulting team, if you will, for some of the management and kind of do some of the longer term stuff that doesn't hit the P&L or getting ready for a game tomorrow. Let's say kind of a little longer approach to different projects.
But just to be clear, you would own the Kraft Championship belt in the steel cage match if the three were in it.
I would fight hard for it. Let's put it that
way. One of the cool things about Tulsa is the youth soccer groups that are out there. Are a lot, and that's got. I mean, do you have a lot of groups that come to games like that? Those youth soccer teams that are showing up. Is that a big part of the business model as far as selling tickets?
It's not a huge part. I mean, it's an important kind of group. I mean, I think we kind of really need everybody. I think in order for this to work, I mean, this is the one kind of pro team for Tulsa. So it's I think all groups are important. It's not a make or break kind of die that you have that, and I think youth soccer's there's definitely overlap, but it spans from the teeny tinies who are out there just kind of kicking the ball around, kind of on the watch, and all the way to the traveling groups that are playing all the time, and you might be at soccer fields 3, 4, 5, 6 hours. So for some parents, the last thing they want to do after watching soccer all day
is go watch soccer.
On the other side, it's a unique experience. A lot of those teams, unfortunately, those again, a huge impact of COVID was being able to really give the kids those experiences that I think as a kid in sports are awesome, where you're on you're the ball kids or the walkout kids, or you're being in a certain section really close to the pitch, autographs with the players afterwards. So all of that due to player bubbles and stuff, we really haven't had the opportunity to do. That's where I think traditionally you've seen club to kind of youth club kind of engagement at that level. The other, I think, cool thing from us is that we've kind of just started, signing academy players. So rather than, the club itself having our own academy, which we're really not, kind of interested in necessarily, is really providing that avenue for players, in the region to be able to train with the pro players. And so, just like everything, right? Iron sharp as you go. And compete with at a higher level talents, right? Your development's going to go much faster. So I think having that resource in for the top tier kids that are traveling all over the ECNL and DA kind of academy stuff, that's been an exciting thing to develop too.
Cool.
I'm sorry,
go ahead, Tim. Go ahead.
So Eric had touched on this a little earlier. You come from a tight-knit family of underachievers. It's clearly you played at Yale. You have two brothers that went to Notre Dame. One was a state champion tennis player. One was on a national championship soccer player. So your parents must have been something really special. With Mother's Day coming up, can you just give us an inside look on what a powerhouse your mom must have been?
Yeah, my mom's my mom's amazing. So, she, stayed, raised us all, really pushed us, every step of the way. I mean, I can't, and really kind of made it fun. I mean, it was always challenging, whether or not it was, I think we were all self-driven on the sports side, but on the academic side or just the helping out side. I think the best testament I could say is, so I left Tulsa and was gone away for, left at 18, kind of came back at 30. And, really, I think there's, I was just, I don't know, the legacy that they provided for me coming back as a 30-year-old, and every interaction I had was just how awesome your parents are, and oh my gosh, I love your mom. And so what a easy, kind of way to come back and develop relationships in business and just meet people. And it was just, didn't appreciate it at 16, 17, 18, but certainly, being a parent yourself, was huge.
Yeah, that's great.
You and your wife were high school sweethearts, I think, right?
That's true. Yes.
Yeah. And so like I've seen like Molly is out of your league from what it looks like.
That's also correct.
Yeah, I figured. So I have a friend that we go to church with. Their son goes to Bishop Kelly. Now, when you went to Bishop Kelly, there's this whole like kiss your mom the first day as a freshman. Did they do that when you were there? Or is that pre?
That's a new development. So
Okay. This is a big deal, Tim. So when you show up as a freshman your first day, I mean, they flock your car and they're crazy. You got to kiss your mom or your dad or whatever. So I didn't know if that was a thing back then, but obviously it's not. What did you learn from Yale basketball that you still apply today?
I mean, basically, it's just just work, right? I mean, I think it's if you stop working, someone else is getting better. I think there's for a little bit, you kind of get back in. You're like, oh, I've made it. I've made college basketball, and then you just work. You look at the other guys that are playing more than you, and getting all that, and all of it's really gym time. So gym time, weight room, and that constant level. It doesn't really matter where you are. And I look at you just see it so evident. Even at the professional sports team. I mean, they're very rare. You see the superstar that talented. It's a combination. Right. Work ethic, the drive, and the talent. The combination of those makes the LeBrons, the Kobe's, the Jordans, the Tiger, whoever that is. And I saw a glimpse of that, definitely in my college.
One of the things I find with guys that are overachievers is they're either highly driven to be just crazy successful, or they've got some insecurity that really burns in them about something to push them. Are you insecure about something, or are you just hardwired to go win every day?
I think they're hardwired to go. I mean, it's I want to win, compete. It was really, and I think it goes back to my parents. I mean, they just had high expectations. So those expectations were, I don't think it was, I had exposure to things at a young age, being around adults, being around, I remember being in just whether it's, being on Capitol Hill or, ski trips with, different families. And you just, kind of had, I think, kind of a broader view. And that I wanted to be able to do things at a kind of a high level. And I think really my whole goal was to play college basketball. So it was a pretty easy target that and then once you did that, it's like, all right, well, now what?
Now what?
Yeah.
And so I think if you look at what we've done, and Eric, you have to come out and kind of see. And I think we've completely, kind of elevated the perception of the club, the team, again, and trying to do it at, the highest level we can. And, that gets back into the management team we've hired, the coach that we've got, the players that, he recruits, and, the constant investment of, kind of every day is like, what's the gap, right? What aren't we doing, awesome? And how do we resource against that? So I think a lot of it is just, it definitely is a drive more than anything.
Cool.
So, I own an ad agency here north of Boston, and I really like, your new brand. I think I was reading that you brought on a well-known designer to craft a new brand for you. So my hat's off to you. You guys did a really, really, really good job. The question I have is, what did you learn and take with you at your time from your time at Blockbuster that you brought with you now, and what would you have done differently?
I think, both. I think one of the biggest things, from on the marketing side specifically, is really just like push and pull marketing, right? So you're either going to, pay the slotting fees and you just kind of deal with the B2C, try and get the placement and all that kind of stuff, or you create a compelling vision that people want and they demand and they love, right? And I think you're seeing, Eddie, one of kind of my mentors, if you will, John Antioco, who was at Taco Bell and Pearl Vision and ultimately Blockbuster, just kind of did a lot of that. I mean, that was his deal, right? Make a huge, come up with a great, awesome, compelling consumer view, and then market the hell out of it. So that was kind of one takeaway as we're looking at, let's not go small in this kind of deal. Let's give it its fair shot, and rather than go out and try and build it up, like let's have confidence that the market's right for us. They want the product, and let's make it awesome for them. And then hopefully that will then, people will get it, become aware, and you'll get the snowball and the kind of the flywheel effect rolling. So that's one of the main things. I think differently. I really don't think there's anything. I mean, really nothing. I don't think would change. It maybe wait. I mean, the only thing maybe in total hindsight would have been, to not operate, for 2 years because you knew COVID was happening. You didn't, but But I don't know. I still go back and say it's still worth it. I think just launching a new brand in a COVID environment, that was kind of that's kind of a rebuild. Definitely is just kind of tested patience, and really you want everything to happen tomorrow, but you need to give it time. So some of that, I mean, is experience, and some. Looking back at your 20-year-old self, 30-year-old self, right? I'm much more patient than I think my brothers are, and so but that's such a life. So but I think we've done the best job we can. I mean, I think we knocked thanks for your comments on the brand. Fans have really seemed to engage with that well. They love it. We're kind of proud to wear it. It's kind of a city crest. So I think from a pure branding perspective, I guess the only other thing that's come to mind is there's kind of the word mark, right? So again, establishing a new brand, there's really nothing that screams soccer if it's standing by itself. And so, but I think there's other logo treatment type stuff that we just learned to pay attention to that maybe we didn't, kill in the first year.
Yeah.
Is that a scissor-tailed flycatcher on the logo?
It is.
That is
State Road. Yep.
Okay. I thought it was. Wasn't sure, and I love it's the Art Deco look and all that's just incredible. The story kind of you and your two brothers, you took them out on a trip and you were going to talk to them about buying the team. Did you know the team was for sale possibly? How does that go down? Like I've never bought a franchise of not like that. I mean, what is it like? Let's just go throw money at this and go get it, or did you already have a feel?
No, we didn't know. We got a call from an investment banker that the team was for sale. So my little brother, Kyle. They were doing research in Tulsa, and they found out he played soccer, and kind of send them an email saying the Tulsa team was for sale, and do you guys have any interest in talking to us? And I thought, well, a phone call couldn't hurt. Like, what's the harm in that? And,
right.
A lot of escalating commitment. No, it was for people that don't live here. I mean, there's just a lot of exciting stuff going on in Tulsa, and there's been a ton of investment. There's a lot of people that, and it's an awesome place to live. And so, I think we've got some really cool, exciting things, and to be able to, kind of have an operating property that helps advance everything that's happening. And the one thing that we don't have is sports. We've kind of got restaurants and bars and music and arts and all of that kind of stuff, but truly having a sports team for the city, like New England, all the big cities do. I mean, it kind of feels like that's what sets you apart, right? Hey, our city competes in this season, and we really have a vision that this could be, this is and has a great chance to be this for Tulsa. So it, I think once we got on and started learning about that, really became a lot of the motivation, and the more you research, kind of the demographics of Tulsa, and just it's the world sport, right? I mean, there are billion people in the world that play this, and as the world gets kind of smaller, and and it's more international, there's more people that have friends that have these clubs overseas, and so it just I think it felt right, and and it felt like a good opportunity. So we kind of through diligence kind of made it happen. I think the back to the Louisville thing, I think another weird story, we were in the Bahamas, literally we're in this bar with like 3 people and in the middle of the ocean, and in walked basically the executive team of Lou City in all of purple gear.
Wow.
So we felt like that was a sign. Went and talked to them, said we were looking at the Tulsa team, and about 4 months later, we had signed the deal.
Good for you.
That's cool. What are you? This is my last question for you because I love to ask people this. What are you reading right now?
I just got 3 books for the trip to Indy this weekend. And it was basically like kind of crossing the chasm. So it's basically about user adoption. And then there was I think the innovator's dilemma. So kind of like in stable industries, when technology is going to kind of disrupt that, how do you respond? Then the third book, I don't know, it was kind of one of those bundle things on Amazon. It's all on that same lens, but
Cool. Tim, you got anything else?
I got 2 more questions. I know that you guys are really involved in the community there in Tulsa. Can you shed a little bit of light on what your charitable endeavors are for your city?
Yeah, I mean, I think for the first decade that I was back, whether I was, chairing, sitting on, kind of advisory boards or getting involved with chairing different fundraising mechanisms. It made, mental health, which really is, kind of a homeless and addiction and kind of affordable housing. And there's a lot of stuff wrapped up in that. So spent a decent amount of time with that. And kind of, I think we just helped start, kind of the Dream League, which is a kind of rec youth kind of soccer initiative up in North Tulsa. I think there's, some different things going on in kind of in East Tulsa. We've been able to do. We've done a lot of stuff with teachers over the last year. But it's I think the opportunity, where for a club and athletes, whether it's the inspirational story, whether or not it's just getting people out to a game that are every day is a challenge, and this kind of this stuff that they're dealing with, or whether or not it's kind of recovery and hope, and giving people something to look up to. I mean, there's just such a range that I think that's why we all love sports so much, right? We love the stories. We like the kind of the hero. We love winning and all that kind of stuff, and that. So I think to be able to kind of inspire the fan base and really give back. And it's also one of the most philanthropic towns. It's unbelievable. And, I think it's a big goal of ours to be able to, position the club that, that's part of our DNA, right? And we want, the club to be doing as much as possible. If we get a few dedicated staff, just deal with that, really have nothing to do with, like the soccer ops stuff, but really it's just community engagement. And then I'm also excited that, we've been able to bring outside dollars. So, working with our sponsors and some of the commercial interests that don't typically spend money in the Tulsa nonprofit sector, we've been able to, kind of get outside funds from national companies who are partnering with us on this. So it's
good for you. That's amazing. Well, my last question is probably my most important question of all of them. Do you get a lifetime supply of hummus?
I don't take advantage of it as much as I can. Yes, we in product lines, changing a little bit. Yes, between our cheese that we've got this new, so another business I'm involved with, the Blue Moose company, and so we're making a cashew dip. So it's kind of plant-based cashew dip that I haven't actually tried yet, but I hear all the buyers are excited about that.
Cool. You're gonna have a hummus burger in the stadium or something to that effect?
We're working on that one.
Right.
Just have hummus night where the players just throw hummus out at everybody. That sounds like fun to my 2-year-old. That would be a good time. So
Yeah.
That would be awesome. Well, this has been incredible. We're up against it, I think, a little longer than we usually go, but this has been a great conversation, and I'm going to get out. Your next 2 home games are June 16th and 19th?
Yes.
Okay. Who are they playing those 2 nights?
We play Kansas City and Louisville. So Kansas City.
I hate those are my arch rivals. I hate them. So we need to run up the score or whatever that looks like.
Same week.
All right, that's good.
Definitely get you out. And Tim, if you're
all right, I'm coming. So you're gonna have to take care of me. I'm coming.
I'll make a trip down. I'll make a trip down. That'll be fun.
Yeah, there you go. We'll get Timmy in town too. So, well, guys, we're going to wrap this up. JW, I don't know if you've watched this, but we end this show every time like this. So, yeah,
All right.
and so we'll see you all next week live.